Just a moment. Yeah, very well. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being present today. We are having a 2-day series on performance management. After you've attended this training, you should be able to learn everything, the works, the skills regarding performance management, performance appraisals, reward system after performance management. You'll know everything there is about performance management. One thing I should point out at this juncture is that all our training materials are always pre-uploaded on the learning management system at achlp.org. I've sent a text to all of you. That is the website, achlp.org. All materials, you can actually be able to go through the training notes beforehand, such that you would be able to engage the trainer in some very serious discourse. You may have wondered why some people ask some very sharp questions. No, it is that they have gone through the materials before you. Then all our trainings are recorded. You can see on the far left at the top, it shows live on YouTube. I'll share our YouTube channel again on the chat box, and I would invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see all the trainings we've had. We usually believe that training should be free, because passing knowledge from those who have it to those who do not have it, or those who want to improve what they know, should not be a costly affair. And maybe that's why you would wonder, how comes the Academy of Certified Human Resource Professionals gives us courses at rock bottom prices? It is intentional to promote the acquisition of knowledge. Then we shall have a multitude of HR professionals who are better in the East African nations. And there we are. We shall continue bringing you courses and trainings that you would never find anywhere. Maybe you've looked at the way our presentations are done, and it has occurred to you, we have a way of arranging our notes such that you are able to know or to learn from, say, the introductory perspectives to gaining a lot of insight on what it is all about, whatever topic we may pick. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you on board. I'd never miss a training because you do not have money. The moment you see we've shared a link on our various communication channels, including but not limited to WhatsApp, Telegram, email, or mailing lists, just join. Ensure you log in and participate. You see, you participate, then you may find, okay, I really need to acquire this certificate, so let me pay for it, so that the only way you are able to get your certificate is through the LMS. And I don't think at this moment, any one of us here has a problem with how to access the LMS, I don't think anyone has a problem. But in case you do have a problem, I would request that you can get in touch with me with the number that I've shared there. If you are interested in our training programs and you would want us to perform the same in your organization, again, the number I've shared in there will come in handy. You let me know. Then I'll organize and arrange that the academy conducts a training for your staff, your team. All our trainings, we ensure that there are certificates. So again, no doubt about that. For HR professionals present, we conduct trainings that are accredited by both NITA and IHRM. Our trainings and use CPD points. The way CPD points are alleged for online trainings, every 3-hour program is 1 CPD point. So for a 2 CPD course, it is divided into 3-hour parts. That's why, for example, the performance management course will earn you 2 CPD points in a total of 6 hours starting today, 3 hours, 3 hours tomorrow. Now, I've shared the contacts there. That is 0722-300-245. And our email is admin@achlp.org. We have the largest channel on Telegram. Currently, it has over 3,650 participants who continuously share knowledge with one another. They share best practices. They share current issues, and sometimes they participate actively in determining who gets elected where and when. So never, if you are not on those channels, again, chat me up on WhatsApp. I'll add you to a robust WhatsApp group, and I'll also share with you the link to join Telegram. Again, for the participants present, I would really love to see you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't let me down. Huwa tunasema, most times, your encouragement keeps us going. It gives us the, we were learning about building influence, and we have a very firm belief that together, that is you and ourselves, we can change the way things are done. Change the way things are done. We create very serious HR fraternity that brings the best for everyone, such that we have a win-win situation. We run great courses, we network a great deal. It doesn't mean because there is Corona, we do not network. That's why we have this platform. Finally, if you can train, we are always expanding our training pool, our talent pool. I would share and agree. This platform, the Zoom platform, is a paid platform, paid annually. So we can hold courses every day of the week, every day in the year. So if you are there and felt okay, then let me write my name because I'm not Ben. My name is Den. D for doll, but not the den of lions. I'm I'm a very innocent person. So you could tell me, then I feel I can train. Then I'll ask you, I'll get a quorum, then you'll showcase what you know. And one way of doing this is always maybe putting your video on, mute your microphone if you are not speaking, put your video on, try to develop some courage of sorts. You cannot be shy, mpaka you are shy online, no. So you try to like face the people, face the crowd. One of these days, we are going to do a free training on presentation skills. Then you would see that you have great potential deep within you. Yesterday, I was chatting with someone, and she was afraid that, hey, did I say it wrongly? No, I told her, you are great. You are confident. You had the power to become more. That is my wish for everyone of you who is participating in this event today. Our annual HR Symposium is coming up on 13th to 15th of July. I would wish to see you there. We usually, when you go to our YouTube channel, you will notice, among other things, that we usually hold great events. First day afternoon, we do team building. And people do all sorts of things. It's a great way of bonding. So from the next day, people are not sitting in groups of where they come from. They're able to mingle freely, make great friends. And that way, we've continuously, when I look at my phone, this one, it has over 15,000 HR contacts. I've met all these great men and women from interacting through these networks, training and more training. Actually, we don't do anything else other than training. As our name suggests, we are an academy of certified human resource professionals. Great to see you today. I'll be sharing the YouTube channel and the Telegram channel again on the chat. Madam Catherine, back to you as you take us through performance management. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for the nice introduction and just highlighting what ACHRP is all about. The trainings that we're able to offer, how diligent we are in preparing the content of the trainings. I think that is important. And also making sure that we can bring it very close at home around our best practices as HR practitioners and maybe people who understand the same culture in terms of maybe majority of us being Kenyans. So thank you. Please continue to add people to the panelist list so that we make sure that everybody is able to participate. I see very familiar names and faces, beautiful faces on your profile, on your profiles. So that's really nice. So a very warm welcome to another yet exciting topic, which we all are eager to learn, eager to share experiences on performance management. And just as Dan has said, we are very cautious and very careful as we sit down as an academy and say what topics do we want to present this year. So that's a lot of work that starts maybe from October. By the time we are ready in December, we have gone back and forth just to seek the approvals that are required and just to make sure that the content is clear. And of course, we take that from the feedback that we get from participants, what we see also out there as best practices, things that are really ideal and important in the world of HR. So feel free to let us know what topics you would like us to include. It's never too late. We are in the second part of the year, and also as we start preparing for 2022. And then has, of course, extended a really nice way to make extra income. That's the only thing that he didn't say, that you can make extra income when you train. So we hope that the presentation seminar will be organized soon, and then we can all showcase. We have some time, you know, all of us coming to maybe talk of a topic that we are so passionate about and learning, just a few minutes for a platform to be given to us. I think that is really great. Okay. So we can begin with a word of prayer, and then after that, we can unmute and just say, really, what is your great learnings for today? What's your objective of being here? I always say that, you know, sometimes what the expectations that you hear from participants, you start thinking, oh, okay, I need to shift my presentation just a little, you know, as a facilitator, you know your people, you know, tunajuana na vilemba. So you start shifting it and saying, well, yeah, maybe I need to move this slide to the last, or maybe remove it completely. So because you're the one who really know exactly what we should be learning. So anyone who would like to pray for us before we begin? Always nice to start with a word of prayer. Unmute yourself, say hello. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. If I pick someone. Raise your hand and mute yourself. Anyone? Please. Immaculate, do you want to pray for us, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Immaculate. Let's pray.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning. We are grateful for the gift of life. We are thankful for the wonderful night that we had, for the health that you've given us, even for this opportunity, Lord, to learn. We are thankful, Lord, for everything that you've done for us. We pray as we start learning today, that Father, you may impact us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, so that we may comprehend what we are being taught, and we may even practice it at our workplaces, even in our own lives. We pray for the spirit of understanding. May your Holy Ghost be with us to guide us and lead us in everything that we do. May all glory and honor be yours. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Immaculate. Appreciate it. So, objectives, expectations, do's and don'ts, multitasking. I know adult learning is hard, especially if you are doing it online and maybe in the office, trying to multitask here and there. I totally do understand. But again, I keep on saying what is important, you will give it the attention that it deserves, you know. So just a bit of a challenge, and maybe just sneaking in a little bit of a guilt is something over there. Anyone? Expectations, when you looked at performance management, when you think that is the glue that holds the organization, everything else centers around performance management. Anyone? Expectations, what you'd like to take away for the next 2 days? And also just reflecting back on all the other webinars that you have attended. I'm sure from the time we started, you've always mentioned and people have contributed around the topic of performance management. Maybe it came just one of those discussions around and having a good performance management. You know, is it a system? What should we be looking? What are the tools? What are the principles? What are some of the examples? How do we use it to enhance productivity? You know, build our brands. Yeah. Anyone? Someone? Janet, Juvie, Janet, my namesake Catherine there, Mohammed, Akarim, Robert, Eunice,
Yeah,
Wanja.
morning.
Morning.
Okay, this is Robert.
Mhm.
I would want to look at it from the angle of how to improve performance,
Mhm.
unlike what most people look at as a process, but I want to look at it from the other aspect of how do
We lost you there. Okay, how we make sure that performance is every day, not just as an ideal one standoff, at the end of the year. Ooh, it's December. HR has sent their email and everybody's thinking, it has come finally. And what is in it for me? Okay, begrudgingly, I will do it just to conform, but we need to make it like an everyday, it's a lifestyle performance. I like what you said, Robert. Thank you for that. Welcome, Agnes, and welcome, Janet. Welcome, Lucy. Nice to have you guys around. Anybody else? I was just reading the names. Benjamin, Patrick, Sarah, Paula, Lucy, Violet. Your expectations for today?
Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Performance management has been very elusive, and it is evolving in so many organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, we've been having a lot of issues when it comes to performance management, especially when we do performance rating. And when you use the results of that performance rating award things such as bonuses or salary increase. So at the end of the day, some organizations are even running away from the word performance management, and they are electing to use the word performance improvement. From today's class, I would want to learn more. What are the best practices out there? What are people doing? And I think it was Ben or someone who said before, performance management is not an event. It is a continuous process that begins when someone joins an organization. So learning about the best practices would be very ideal for me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah. Looking at the best practices, knowing that this is one of the things that many organizations do struggle with, because it can be very emotive. Performance management can be as emotive of trying to buy land in this country, especially during the calibration week. What are they cooking in the boardroom, and how am I being rated? I didn't even see my final rating. Should we make it as transparent as the way you gave me my KPIs? Okay. Juvie, do you want to say something? I can see that you have unmuted your mic.
Good morning, Catherine. I actually was just typing here. I wanted to apologize that I will not be able to participate actively, but I have tuned in to be able to listen, to give half my ear, because I am interested to revise my knowledge in performance management.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a bit of a tight schedule, but I have logged in all the same.
Okay,
yes,
fantastic.
I'm sorry. I just wanted, actually I was typing here. Sorry about that. Sorry to even to say this like this.
That's okay, don't worry. Yeah, it's what it is, Adult learning is difficult. We have to try and multitask you. So we totally do understand. What Patrick has said is very true. And even when you look at performance contracting in government, in all governments, it's very difficult. We have all these performance contracting elements and goodwill, and then all of a sudden people really don't understand it. Sometimes I think we make it too complex. Also, that is something that we need to understand. Why do we make it complex? Are we trying to set up people for failure? Then people get frustrated. People just say, no, I will not sign it off. I remember there was a protracted heated debate, let's put it like that, in government, where people said, no, I'm not going to, I don't understand it. I'm not going to sign it off. So how do we make sure that we mainstream it in organization in the simplest form that people enjoy performance management and people really look forward to working alongside all the systems and elements that we can do, So performance management is not just it's everything that encompasses in your organization. Think about recruitment. Think about talent acquisition. Think about your compensation, learning and development. Think about your succession planning. Think about wellness. Think about everything. Really, that's what it evolves around performance management, because some of the things will be motivators for people to continue learning, and some things will be the key drivers for people to be able to perform and to be measured on. So all the elements that come into an organization really form the bigger part of performance management. And I'd also like to say that culture will play a strong role in how we drive performance management in our organization. So even if we put a big elaborate system, the best that there was, either we buy it off the shelf, one of those very big systems for measuring performance management, or we have a custom-made one that really tailor-made towards our needs as an organization, looking at the functions that the business that we do, and it's really custom-made for us. If we have all of them and then all the other little things have not been fixed here and there, it will never serve its purpose optimally. It might serve, but how do we want to make sure that it's serving optimally? So that's important. Welcome everyone who has joined. Allow me to share my screen, and any feedback on that? Just a nice introduction around performance management. Okay, great. Allow me to share my screen. When you see it, please let me know, so that at least we have some reference points on where we are. Everybody can see my file. Yes. They've come? Okay, great. Here we are. We are getting to the finish line, from as far as we can start off, where we are starting off and where we are going. So today, exciting wealth of learning around us, and I keep on saying, please unmute, give examples, share experiences. That's how we enrich the learning, and we all keep interested. It's a bit of a gray morning, but hey, this is what it is. The cold season is here, but I hope you have your favorite drink, so we can go ahead. So we will look at the whole aspect of performance management by explaining what it is, looking at the objectives, some of the processes, and looking at performance appraisal and some of the tools that we can use, and maybe some of the tools that are very popular, and look at some of the indicators, and also maybe just make it very practical around taking a performance management look from a HR perspective. If we took, let's say, I'm assuming that many of us here are HR practitioners. If not, then pardon me. And why not? Why can't we make sure that we really look at ourselves and look at a technical performance management evaluation, how it would look like? What are some of the objectives that we can set for the year? What are some of the indicators that we will use to measure the success of those objectives? How should it be rated? Very, very, very practical. And I wish I had a whiteboard, because I love to write, Lecturers always love to write, and scribble and do stuff. So I'll ask that we participate maybe tomorrow in really drawing out and developing one for ourselves, just very ideal and very practical in terms of that approach. So let me just read a very short case study. So Helos has several employees working in different departments. Just think of ACHRP here as the 30 of us as a company, you know, and we have CEOs, we have a CEO, we have various departments, and let's think of us in this webinar as we provide training. Let's say we are a training institute. So we custom make trainings, open trainings and stuff like that. So we would have the finance department, we would have the technical department, and our technical department would be really the training itself, looking at the business. The heart of the business is to provide training, either management and leadership trainings, HR trainings, all sorts of trainings, you name it, whatever trainings that we're able to offer. So, and of course, we would have maybe a HR department that looks after us. We would have a business development, people who go out and sell. We have product development, that is the heart of the business and stuff like that. And we would have maybe some in-house facilitators who do that and whatever. So an ideal company, just like what it is. So lately, Hellas has been recording decreasing profits like every other company. Just think of also like last year, really what happened last year. Declined profits. Majority of the companies worldwide really had a dip in profits. Upon auditing, they found that there was low performance across many departments. You know, you go and you just find out that auditing, oh my gosh, low performance. Where is this low performance coming from? Or what has caused low performance? Long time ago, we used to perform very well. So what would they do? You know, so Hellos could have easily used an effective performance management system to monitor and manage the performance of its workforce. You know, they could easily have used a performance management system, you know, to monitor the performance. They didn't have one. And then all of a sudden, ooh, you know, and this is what would have helped them just see where they are and find out if things are going right, if only they had a performance management system. And I pause there and ask, in your organization, do you have a performance management system that helps you or facilitates the ability for you to monitor people's performance and make sure that it is serving the objectives of the organization? You know, and I'm not talking about, I'm not at all talking about the performance appraisal at a scheduled time. If it's quarterly, monthly, half, semi, or annual performance, where we sit down with my supervisor and say, this is what I've been able to do, or other people also are involved. I'm not talking about that. Do you have a system in your organization where you are able to continuously monitor performance in your organization? Whether it is bespoke, whether it is it's a platform, a digital platform that you use, whether it is paper-based that you look at it every day and it is filed in a file, whether it is discussions that you have in the corridor and it's really working for you. What do you have? But of course, having a digitized system that would help you monitor performance would be the most ideal, and we'll have a look at that. So I would like to ask, just unmute and tell us, do you have a performance management system in your office, in your place of work? Is it fit for purpose? Does it help you or assist the organization in continuously monitoring performance of your teams and making sure that we are able to capture any dropping of balls before they become very dire? Or it's just using our gut feeling? We know Catherine performs, that's okay, there's no problem, tick the box. We know Immaculate performs, tick the box, that's fine. You know, anyone? Do you have one that is really elaborate, that you can continuously monitor, that you feel is really ideal for your organization? Anyone? Even if it is not elaborate, then do you have pockets of it that help you? Just help you, how do you monitor? Or we all wait for that big email from HR, from ourselves? How do you monitor performance on a day-to-day basis? Or you expect everyone to know what they're supposed to be doing? Anyone? Anyone? Please unmute, share. Even if it's not there, that's okay. Just say then it is not there. Or if it's there and we don't know what to do with it, and I'm happy to be here to understand how to make sure that every day we are using it going forward. Anyone? Please share. Or even
hello.
Hi, Lucy.
Yeah, in our place, we majorly use performance appraisal only. And and especially between March and June, that's where now the activities kicks in.
That is the open period for carrying out the performance appraisals. Okay, so for you, your organization says, okay, fine. We work. Then at the end of the financial year, which is in June, we start in March. We are looking at performance. Everybody is crazy busy, doing what needs to be done. So the rest of the days, we are happy. We are doing well, Lucy.
Yeah.
We feel we are doing well.
Looking forward to learn more from this training. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And of course, unfortunately, that's what happens maybe in many organizations. Anybody else? The same scenario, or you do it any differently? Anybody else?
I can contribute. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Patrick.
At the beginning of the year, we have corporate goals that are set at the corporate level. And what we use, I don't want to call it a performance management system, but we have something that we have been using, which is called OKRs. So what happens is that once the corporate goals have been set, each department will have to use the objectives from the corporate goals and cascade them to the department. What is it that relates to the corporate goals that when you interpret, it's supposed to be delivered by your department? So you set that as key results. Now, key results, you have to assign who is supposed to deliver those. So we do that every quarter. And then we have a central reporting template on the Google Sheets, whereby all departments report, give their achievement reports on a weekly basis. So anyone who wants to know what department has achieved what, they can just log in and be able to see. And then at the beginning of every week, we have what is called a senior leadership meeting, where we discuss the challenges that are that people are facing in particular departments, and brainstorm on how to solve those challenges, and if there are any obstacles and all that, the kind of cooperation that is expected. And we use color codes to indicate, like, if a key result is headed in the right direction, or you're making the progress that you're required, you will use the color yellow. If it is done, you turn it to green. If it is you're not moving at all, then you put it in red. So anyone who looks at it can be able to see where you are stuck, because they'll see that a color code red on the status. And then at the end of the quarter, we evaluate and explain, like, what have you been able to achieve? What were you not able to achieve? And then probably what you are not able to achieve, you can now move it to the next quarter, or drop it from your objectives, and then concentrate on something else. So at that point, we rate it using 0 to 1 scale. Now, 1 is you have performed it very well, and 0 is you have not made any traction. Now, a performance of 1 is not very good, because it shows you that you did not set an ambitious goal. It seems like it was a very easy thing to achieve. So the best performance is about 0.7, and that is how we do it.
Wow.
And then, of course, there's the normal performance appraisal at the end of each quarter.
For every individual.
It's based on key result areas, including personal objectives that we delve into understanding what is your career aspirations, how are you managing in terms of work-life balance. We gauge in terms of your stress levels, how do you think you're performing? And then at the end of the day, we will look at training needs. Where do you think you need to be trained? And then all those programs come into place. And I think the whole of that system is what I can call a performance management system. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Very elaborate. Looks like it works very well for you, Patrick, in your organization. And thanks for just sharing that. I will pick a couple of things as we go along. Anybody else? Any different from Patrick's? They have the organizational goals for the year, broken down into quarters, always looked at, and then people now have the departments have the key result area, and then we also have your individual performance objectives, and then it's very grinding around getting a 1 year. Yes, Rispa, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
We, in an organization I worked for previously, we had something similar to what Patrick is saying. Annual objectives at the beginning and broken down to department and individual. But the major thing that drove this was because then your performance appraisal was taken very seriously at the end of the year. And at some point, it became a problem when people got to the end of the year and then you tell me you're not performing. So it was really, really broken down. Other than the quarterly one-on-one meetings where people had to sit down and review objectives and see what you've done and what you've not been able to do and where you need help, that is actually documented and deposited with HR. It was broken down to weekly team reviews. So in departments, the sales department, the production department, every week on a Monday, you have like a 45-minute, very fast, early in the morning. What worked last week? What didn't work? Where did we mess up? How do we improve this? And then for supervisors and top management, on a monthly basis, you had a one-on-one meeting, sat down and reviewed. Where are you straining? Where do you need help? What are you doing well? And it's documented. Even the quarterly one now that includes everyone, so that at the end of the year, when I give you a report and this is how I score you, you don't say I didn't communicate in the process, because it could be quite a shock that I've worked with you for 12 months and then suddenly out of nowhere, you tell me I was not performing.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
this was used for bonuses and growth perspectives later in the year. So it's,
yeah. The thing is that there is the easy your system is, the more enjoyable people will enjoyable it will be for people to work with it. The more people will appreciate the importance of having a performance management system. And system is not let's be clear, a system is not all these fancy systems. I use the word system. Someone help me. It's not all these digital ERP platforms that you're using. You know, systems is me and you and the processes that we have put in place. A process like, let's say, what Trispa and Patrick have said, and also what Lucy said, is their system is very, Lucy's system is very short. You know, they set the objectives at the beginning of the year. Maybe you expected to look at them from time to time. You are making sure that you are following it. And then we will meet at the end of the year for us to evaluate what you have done. You know, this other one is a system around, you know, we are looking at everybody really plugging in together. And from the very beginning, management knows what they have set as the ideal business results. Then after that, they cascade it down to departments, and everybody gets those objectives based on the work that they do in that department and how it collaborates with other departments and the entire strategy of the organization. Then after that, they look at me as an individual. What am I capable of doing? You know, systems that come together. So those meetings that you're having form part of the systems. The evaluation tools that you're using, whether they are online, whether they are manual, form part of the systems, you know. So those discussions, as long as we are documenting them and making sure that we can refer back to them, forms part of the system. So it's huge, it's large, it can be complex, it can be easy, but the most important thing is that we must all understand where we are coming from. So even as we know that our performance management system will emanate from the bigger strategy of the organization. And then you have your department strategy. And then I have my own objectives as an individual who work in this organization. Sometimes our lack of understanding of the strategy as employees, that is the time that performance management really goes pear-shaped. If I ask you what is the strategy of your organization, in the very simplest of forms, the pillars that you have in your strategy, would you be able to do that? Would you be able to tell me the competencies that you need at every level in your organization? Junior management need to have these competencies, and we have put up the pillars of those competencies. Senior management need these kind of competencies, and they form part of the performance management system, because we are not just looking at you to deliver the technical aspect of what it is. The bigger picture that we should be concentrating on, and Patrick has said, is your well-being. How are you doing as an individual? If I am not looking at you after you and making sure that your well-being is being catered for, your wellness, your training, you know, your values as an individual, so that they come and meet together with the values of the organization. So all those other things technically will just be plaster there and whatever. We must bring our whole self in the performance management system, and we'll continue discussing that and seeing how it is. So if you can't break down your strategy in very few sentences, in an elevator speech where someone asks you, what does the organization do? What is the strategy, the next 5-year strategy? It might not be up for, it's not up for maybe for public view, but you really know it by heart. And of course, maybe you would say, I come from this organization, this is what we sell. Our strategy really borders into this kind of products and services that we do. But if you don't know your strategy, then whatever. However, even as here, one of the things that we should really emphasize on, because we are the drivers of performance management and technical experts in performance management, is our ability to understand how the objectives are really set out by management at the end of the year for us to start with them at the beginning of the following year. So unfortunately, what happens is that they are very technical and they are all chasing after profit. And by the time we realize where are the people aspect, of course, it's people who are going to do this, but where are people in all this? We've been left so far behind, and it's already been signed by the board. And sometimes it's very simple. Sometimes we can just have an incremental budget of saying that we want to increase our profit by 15%. So very simple strategy. Let's take it like that. And we all look at where can we increase by 15%. Of course, we give the sales guys, and business development guys, make sure that 15% is it. There's much more in terms of making sure. So we need to understand and tell management, stop. Let's start with the people first, because it's people who are going to actualize what we want to put in place. And that's why I keep on saying the PPP, the people, planet, and profit, has actually been turned around and become profit. By the time we think about people, we've left them too far behind, and then we are coming to pick them. Oh, okay. And then we've left the environment of where we are supposed to be working. The planets are now bringing it to a smaller space. Your workspaces, whether they are virtual, whether they are physical, that's the planet that you work in, and how ideal is it, how accommodating it is. And then the only thing that should really be at the end of, because when we think about people, we think about the planet, then profits really follow naturally. But it's inverse. And sometimes you can't even blame anyone. It's because it is so pressurized, it is very high, it is very intensive, and we want to beat competition. So what Corona did last year, it really wiped out a lot of businesses, and it also made a lot of business struggle. Any feedback on that? Any feedback? Or maybe you want to add something to it? Feel free to unmute. Feel free to unmute and just participate. So let's look. So what is performance management? What's the definition? And I'm sure when you look at the internet, they will bring you thousands and thousands of definitions. Someone can read for us?
I can read.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning.
Morning.
What performance management means systematically managing all the people in an organization for innovation, goal focus, productivity, and satisfaction. Hence, performance management is the approach to the management of people using performance, planned goals and objectives, measurement, feedback, and recognition to motivate people to realize their maximum potential.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Simply put, and that is what we've all attested to when we said, well, how is performance in the organization? We want to make sure that people maximize their potential. And how is that? From the time you put up the advertisement, whether internally or externally, you have already started managing performance. You put up and say, I want to employ a HR officer. I want to employ a HR manager. And you critically look at your business, and you critically look at the needs of the business and what the ideal person you would like to come and occupy that position. So you take time to analyze the key responsibilities that this person is supposed to come and achieve and do. And then you also look at the skills that they are required to have. And then, of course, maybe the education, if the education and the professional certifications. That's said and done. Then you put it up and you hope to attract the right people. So already when you do that, you're already managing performance, because you have already put in there the duties and responsibility that this person is supposed to come and do. And they will come and make sure that they goal focus on their organization. So by the time you're doing in the interviews, you are giving out the offer letter, you've already started managing performance, because you are managing me. You want me to come in and feel motivated. You want me to be creative. You want me to be innovative. You want me to be flexible within your systems and products and services. And you want to make sure that both of us really are satisfied working and making sure that we are producing. So it's just an approach to the management of people using various tools and whatever. Okay. It is integrated because it has 4 types of integration: vertical, functional, goals, and human resource. Anybody who could really look at what it means? It is an integrated approach. 4 types of integration. Just looking at that and just putting it here now in a nutshell. What is vertical? What is functional? And even with an example, what are goals? We know goals, human resource, are able to make sure that we manage you. Anyone? Just in your own understanding around management using performance plan, goals, objectives, measurements, feedback, and recognition. And then we say that this is how it looks like. An integrated approach. What is vertical? What is functional? What are goals? And what is human resource? Please feel free to unmute yourself and just give an example. Your understanding, please.
I can try on vertical. When you talk about vertical integration, you're looking at business specific thematic areas. An example of thematic areas could be quality, it could be customer experience, it could be cost management, something like that. So your process should be integrated in a manner that it is able to address these issues that the business is facing.
Very true. It's the way you collaborate with other departments, vertically, you are going out, everybody just understands what the business is all about, and who can help me, what's the business all about, and how is it being done? Yeah, thank you. Someone else? Functional? Functional?
Let me say in perspective to our organization.
Yeah.
I think when the four integration means to us is the particular one means the top level management sets the corporate goals, and then discuss them with the human resource, and then human resource shares with the functional units, that is the heads of departments, and the head of departments, which are the supervisors, sits down with the staff, individual staff, and sets goals. So that is how we are integrated in terms of performance management system.
Okay, and is it working for you guys?
Yes, in terms of individual development, yes, but in terms of compensation or in terms of the end results or in terms of what you call compensating or giving recognition to people, issues will be there. So it does not work well, but it is there, but we have not seen the end results properly.
Okay, yeah. And if in fact now we can stop this 2-day seminar and go home, and think through until tomorrow that we have all these systems. The organizations want us to achieve and work and make sure that it is working. But at the end of it all, whether we are measuring performance every day, every month, quarterly, semi-annual or annual, and then we all wait there. Now I've done it, I have worked, and there's even no recognition. That is now when really people feel discouraged, So how can we as HR practitioners make sure that we still encourage and motivate people and say, it is a process that is part of us. Performance management is part of us. But of course, we know that from the ancient times, if you're asking me to go over my call of duty to achieve a 5, like what Patrick said, if it's a 1, it's too easy. I need to understand that system, Patrick, by the way. If it's 7.5, you've performed very well. You seem to really have driven it and gotten out of your whatever. Maybe you are supposed to bring 10 million shilling sales this month, but you brought 12. So you've surpassed your targets, and then you score me highly, but at the end of the year, nothing. In fact, if maybe the only thing that you get is a medal, good enough, or you get a recognition, employee of the year, and stuff like that. But how can we make employees appreciate that if we don't have a reward system going hand in hand with a performance management system, that we feel that it is important, that this is what drives us, this is what makes us different from competition, that this is a good thing for us to have. One of the things that I keep on saying, apart from just dwelling in the technical aspect of your performance management system and goals, goal-wise and objective-wise, if we are not bringing in the aspect of people, and really me as an individual, that is where we lose the plot. If you just concentrate on me, then it becomes much easier. Sometimes I can even forget, okay, fine. They love me so much in this organization. They really take care of me that compensation is, it will come. But people need to be compensated for what it is. So let's, I hear you, Benjamin, and I had to say that because it will continuously be one of the very difficult conversations to tell people, well, please do performance management, and what is in it for me? Nothing. You put out employee engagement surveys and say, are you satisfied with the performance management system we have in place? And maybe you've elaborated that it's not a one-off event, and people say, well, what would you like more? You tick their compensation, recognition and stuff, and you still don't have it. So it's really a catch-22. Anyone who has who has a challenge in that, so that we also discuss as we go along, what are some of the things that we can put in place to help drive performance management in the organization when there is we don't have a compensation policy in terms of bonuses, merit increment, around when you've worked so hard, so that we all don't just become standard performers, which is what it is. Anyone? You struggle in terms of just letting people know that this is what they need to do? Anyone? Or what have you done in the past? All of you, ooh, you're so lucky. Ooh, I want to join your organizations. You all have bonuses and great perks, those big bonuses. Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I would say struggle, but I know we don't. There's some of our heads of departments who are keen and always do the performance appraisal even without us reminding them. And then there are some departments that we can never get them, regardless.
Never.
We never get them.
Why? But it's a company objective, so
Yes,
they won't fill them in.
We just never get them.
So how do they proceed to the next year?
Just
because
like
the system doesn't the system lock themselves? They lock them out.
No, we don't have a. It doesn't for us. It doesn't work like that. Ideally, it should, but it doesn't work like that.
So, okay, so they will never. So, how do we make decisions to promote Catherine to the next level? How do we make decisions to take Catherine for training? How do we make decisions to put Catherine on PIP to help her? Because PIP, I'm not saying that you're going home. We are just helping you because you're in ICU. You're so bad in terms of your performance. What?
I
so
totally
what does
does
the CEO say? Because I want to imagine that we go to SMT Exco, whatever meetings, fancy names that we give all these senior management meetings in the organization, and we are saying quality assurance. You've not put in your performance reviews for your teams. Where are they? What do they say?
They look at you and then we move on to the next bullet point of the meeting.
Of the agenda.
But I don't sit on that committee,
yes.
So maybe that's the other reason.
Yeah.
But gosh, for me, I have tried. I've been in this organization for 10 years and I don't know.
So why would I be in an organization for 10 years, me as Catherine, and have not been evaluated? So it's just a free ride. Okay, are there bonuses?
We get gratuity every year.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then we get like 5% increment.
Okay,
based on,
it's a free ride.
Yeah.
Do you have a position? I come? Guys, you can hear. I mean, gratuity is given maybe because it doesn't form part of performance management. It does. No, it does. But I'm just thinking gratuity is a way of compensating you for your future earnings, and maybe you don't have a pension scheme, so we pay you gratuity at the end of the year to make sure that by the time you are leaving, we've already given you money as you move along. I could be wrong anyway, but it's a free ride. I like your organization. We'll talk about we'll just unpack a little bit more, but of course not ideal and not the way it should be done. People should take it seriously. So what are some of the consequences that organizations have to make sure that performance management reviews are done? Some could seem very punitive and people just say, okay, fine. So it's a punitive way of doing things. But again, when we leave it for you to just do it, look at what happens. Some people do not do it. So, and organizations, we should have standardized policies for everybody and people should be able to follow them through. Someone else? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Someone else? The organization that maybe performance reviews are demanded. Remember, a system is everything that goes into it. Reviews are the periodic reviews that evaluation needs to be done, and we've agreed upon that it's going to be done at a scheduled time. But you do all this and then there's nothing that comes. What do you do? What have you done? You feel that it's a demotivator? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. I'm sure we'll continue, whatever. Yeah. So So when you look at all that, really encompasses that we collaborate as an organization, top to the bottom, bottom to the top, functional. Everybody knows what every department is doing. We can be able to, in my function, I totally understand what I'm capable of achieving. Human resource now is the technical department that helps people, achieve or define the goals as they are. And of course, the goals, the wider goals of the organization, really the 4-part integration of performance management. Then we go on to just a bit of more definition, strategic and integrated approach to delivering sustained success to organizations by improving performance of people who work in them and by developing the capabilities of teams and individual contributors. So you see, we are not just talking about people, one person. We are talking about capabilities of teams. And of course, if I work in a team, then I understand things a bit more. Work is equally distributed. And of course, even me, I come again as an individual. And remember yesterday where we also struggled with, you employ me as Catherine, why are you saying that I'm in a team? We work in teams, and that's why we've all come together to do what needs to be done. An important aspect of performance management is performance appraisals, of course, where a clear set of quantifiable goals and objectives are used to measure an individual performance against these goals. And I keep on saying, if you really don't have the thorough understanding of your strategy and the culture in the organization, then even it becomes very difficult to have quantifiable goals. And of course, we all talk about SMART goals, all those kind of stuff, which we are so in tune and we do really understand. But how do we make sure that understanding of the strategy and the culture helps you to become a better person? So the key elements, someone read for us. Key elements of performance management system include, and we've actually just been talking about it, and discussed it at length. Yeah. Someone please read for us. Someone read for us.
The key elements of performance management system include the following: a formal compensation, philosophy policy.
statement,
salary administration program, and a formal audit stroke success rating overview on an annual or periodic basis with disclosure of results to management.
Fantastic. We've already talked about, how do you compensate me? A formal compensation should be there. A salary administration program. And how do you rate me as an individual? If we disagree on the final rating, Patrick, in fact, let me just ask you, if we disagree on my final rating, let's say you're my supervisor and I believe that my rating should be 7.5, but that you said was at the departmental level. But just say, if I believe that I'm a 7.5 and you're giving me 0.5, what happens there?
You have to support your thinking with KPIs, because at the end of the day, we have clear KPIs. And we have defined well that if you're supposed to meet ABCD, if you meet all of those objectives, then your performance is X. So at the end of the day, it doesn't bring issues of definition. It's just about you coming and saying, well, I might have not done very well here, but here is what you have not considered. And then after that, you and your manager, you are allowed to come up with an agreeable rating. However, should there be an issue even after that process, then it comes to HR. Then HR acts as a mediator to talk to the manager and talk to the employee and just act as an arbitrator to find what should have been the correct rating for that employee, especially if we are going to have consequences. Then it is specifically important that we convene what we call an assessment meeting. You call the employee, the manager, plus people that that work close with that person, and then you are able to review the issues at hand and come up with an agreeable solution as to the rating. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. And that's definitely what happens. Either the escalation goes to the line manager, to the second line manager, and then after that, or maybe it comes to HR for arbitration and for understanding, you know, what would be the, what is the basis of the disagreement on points and stuff like that, because people know that there are consequences. But if we really have been giving feedback throughout, and these things we are talking about on a weekly basis, it should be no surprise when I give you a certain rating, and we almost should be at the same level of what we are discussing. And if it's technical, you're supposed to have brought in, recruited 25 people, which were approved by the board, and you've only recruited 12. There's a big problem. You know, I mean, we should have been making noise at the departments where our people, where is our resource, and it has not come and stuff like that. So the noise is coming from every corner. But the one that I see has a lot of back and forth and pull is around the values and behaviors and our attitude towards work, you know. So if you choose, and that becomes very thin line between, now you say, I didn't do this, and I exhibited a bad behavior, I mean a bad attitude. You quantify it. The back and forth about behaviors and attitude and our values. That's why even at performance level, put down your behaviors as an organization. Then you say, but this behavior is what we are talking about, and I can give you an example. And we're also not saying that things that I did in January should be brought in December for review. If I drop the ball in January, you should be able to tell me exactly what happened and put it in January and close that discussion if it's not part of the bigger picture of my KPIs, you know. So it becomes very unfair for you to lump things for me. I can't even remember. Oh, you're still in January. Me, I'm in December. Let's discuss what is here on the table. So objectivity, that's what I'm trying to say, and fairness, and really looking at what matters the most should be what the discussion should be all about when we are reviewing performance. Okay. So when I was employed as a very young graduate, I joined this fantastic organization. I didn't know the world. I thought that was the real world till I got to the real world of work. Young graduate, carefree, you know, things like that. This organization was very, very, very generous. It was a multinational. I worked there for about 10 years before I left. Very progressive. Okay, continue. Okay, so it was really an ideal company. So we used to get, in December, you get a 13th month check. Tick, tick. If you join in between the year, of course, it's prorated. Then the financial year was ending in December. When they did the books and everything, in April, we got a bonus based on your performance anyway. High performing, whatever. Did I care too much? I mean, first 2 years, okay, fine. You still get a bonus and whatever. And it was nice because it was really a nice company. Then we also used to you get a bonus and you get a merit increment on top of that. Then you get COLA. You tell me. And then, of course, you leave organizations, you keep going, and then you wonder, where's the 13th month check? You know, elements, formal compensation philosophy policy. That's what I'm talking about. You know, different organizations have different things, like what she said, we have gratuity, we have collar, and sometimes organizations don't give collar because, well, they didn't they didn't hit their targets. The financial situation is not good, or even the merit increment and stuff like that. I know people last year who complained that they were really marked down because if you had more than 3.5, I know this is true in a certain big multinational in this country. So they reduced everybody and put them on 3.4 so that you don't get to the bonus. A very unfair and very obvious thing that was done, so that the people who got the bonus were very, very few. And there was hue and cry that I can work in this organization this 1 year where everybody has whatever, and people thought, well, the policy, yes, it is there, but why not really come and say it was a difficult year, stop the policy of maybe saying the calibration, and give everybody a slice of the pie to make sure that everybody feels motivated and encouraged to move forward. So that is it is. So what I'm trying to say is that some companies are more generous than others. Some companies you really have to work towards earning any bonus that has been approved, and some companies are more better in terms of, well, we will just share the pie the way it is, even with the lazy people. Sorry, yes, we know that there are some lazy people in the organization, but we still want to carry dead weight along because we love them. We love them. So how do I make sure that really the compensation policy in the organization is a driver to performance management? Okay. So any question on the formal compensation policy statement? What kind of statement do you have? Is it fair? Is it consistent? Is it industry competitive? Compensation programs in your organization, how do you look at it? And do you award collar every year? If in the absence of a bonus or a 13th month check, do you make sure that everybody in the organization, you don't run 2 payrolls? I know organizations who run 2 payrolls. We all know them. There's a payroll for some people and there's a payroll for the other people. Very unfair. Very, very, very unfair. One payroll, equal work for equal pay. That's what it should be. And just looking at making it clear that if we have salary scales, they should be displayed. So you know that I'm moving from grade 1, grade 2. What does that mean for me to move to grade 2? I don't know why organizations hide salary scales. I'm not saying that you say what Catherine is earning to the last cent, Benjamin, Patrick, Crispa. I'm saying because you are on my panel, but this it should be on our intranet and grayed out so that you are not able to cut and paste and maybe share with other people. Really grayed out, because then how will I know that I'm on step 13? I'm at the higher end of the grade. So for me, I am either frozen as but maybe you give me a one-off compensation at the beginning of the year before I tend to move to the next grade system. Anyone who has a good formal compensation philosophy statement that is fair, that people understand, that people can ask questions around? It forms part of the performance management system. Anyone in your anyone? How do we do compensation in organizations? Does your compensation policy provide for, is it competitive? Is it easy to use? Is it performance-driven pay delivery system? Does it really give guidelines in terms of making sure that you're driving performance in your organization? Is it fair? Does it make sure that it doesn't discriminate against race, religion, color, gender, age, disability, sex, anything that Does it look into all those aspects? Or there's a big disparity between the marketing director and the marketing manager. The marketing director earns 1 million and the marketing manager earns 300,000. Is that fair? Do you feel it's fair? With such huge gaps, should it be? Should it be like that? Anyone? Will it be addressing your performance management system? Anyone? Anyone? No, we feel we are the custodians of all these policies, and we are the ones to be giving input when it is required, or if it is done there, outside there. So we just receive our pay slips and we don't know what's happening. Anyone, please share. Okay. Let's continue. Feel free to unmute. Okay, so salary administration programs around job evaluation, we all know that it aids us in terms of making sure that there's a good grading structure and a good salary band structure, and also gives us the ability to look at compensating everyone or each position fairly and equitably within the organization. And it also gives us an opportunity to look at the job descriptions to make sure that that job is important in the organization, it is still needed in the organization, it is qualified to hold it. And after that, even when we give them goals to achieve, they're able to do that. And of course, performance appraisal, paper for performance, salary programs, group incentive plans. We know that some organizations come and say, when you work on this project, we will have an incentive plan, and we put it alongside when we are planning for that project. When it's successful, we'll be able to make sure that we compensate that. Individual incentive programs. I know also organizations where they have actually a menu, kind of you pick the kind of benefits that you would like to have, from this menu, this menu, this menu, and depending on where you are at the stages of life and the different generations, you'll choose different benefits that really are ideal for you, and you have an opportunity to change them as your circumstances change. Reward programs is not just about compensation, but maybe secondment to other departments, exchange programs if you're multinational to other countries, maybe reward programs around giving you a scholarship to do something, a course that is relevant to your work, reward programs also, looking at wellness in totality and just saying, well, there's a book club that we want to form, and do we buy books for this book club, or people love to play board games, we have we will make a challenge and reward people who have who do well, part of your management system. Remember, it's the person that you are trying to motivate to achieve your goals. And compensation communications around your compensation and what you do. Okay, so formal audit, the most effectively performed by an outsider HR consultant or consulting firm. Objectivity allows them to observe and identify strengths and weaknesses, which are not always observable from within. Let's say calibration. And sometimes you want a consultant, maybe you are starting up a new system and you want to make sure that it is extremely objective, and there is no, you've not overlooked anything. So sometimes it's nice to bring in someone from outside, but of course your own internal rating at an annual or periodic appraisals, you've already perfected that, and you're able to calibrate and see that this is where it is. This department did very well, and the results are seen, the results are glaring, everybody has been singing of their praises from the time they started to now. So obviously, this is a department that is doing well. This other department has been struggling. And why is it struggling? Is it the business environment? Is it people do not understand what performance management is? Is it lack of motivation? And we now start having those kind of audits. But internally, we should be able to trust our system, trust the processes, and trust the outcomes of the ratings that people get in the organizations. Okay, great. Any question there? Elements that we should be looking at, making sure that our performance management system is working. Any question or any experience from the workplace, please feel free to share before we go to the principles of performance management. We don't want to make it that I'm the only one talking throughout. Anyone? Yeah. And we also don't want to seem as if we're in a class learning, lecturing, I just want us to be interacting as much as we can. Okay. So I'd like someone to read and maybe just give an example from the workplace or what it means, expound on it. Anyone, feel free to unmute yourselves. An example at the workplace. The key principles of, there could be many more, but these are the really ones that we should be looking at. Anyone? Feel free to unmute. Feel free to unmute, please. Principles of performance management.
Principles of performance management.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Supports businesses-oriented strategy, is value-based, communicates organizational mission, fulfills responsibilities to organizational members, enables employees to manage own performance, manages expectation, clarifies roles and responsibilities, creates partnerships between management and employees, emphasizes importance of measurement, feedback, and reinforcement, empowers employees, natural extensions of management.
Thank you very much. So in a nutshell, what are we trying to say? That really performance management, the principles behind performance management is to support the business and to support the employees to make sure that performance is actually met. And it's just an extension of management and stuff of the things that management do, because everybody is important in the organization. Everybody brings something that is unique. The diversity that we have, the thinking that I bring, the opinions that I bring in the organization, the ability of management to communicate to what is important, outlining the strategy and making sure that it's executed cannot be overemphasized, So some examples. How does performance management empower employees? Anyone? How does performance management empower employees? It was not spoken. How does it empower employees?
I can try.
Yeah.
I'd say it provides an avenue for an individual or a person to know what they're good at, to know what perhaps might need more support, etc. And with that whole aspect of visibility of the individual, they now are able to grow because they work on areas that need growth, or even their or there's even clarity on the path that they ought to follow based on being able to critically examine their performance. Yeah.
True. Thank you for that. Yeah. So empowers employees because then they understand what is expected of them. They have support from their line managers. They feel motivated. So it's delegated work. I have autonomy to do what I've been employed to do. So it empowers me to do more and to see that I, as an individual, am succeeding. And if I succeed, it means that the organization is succeeding. It should not be the other way around, that the organization is succeeding, then I succeed. No, 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 no. I succeed because I'm doing what is expected of me. I've been given the environment to be able to succeed. I am given feedback periodically and from time to time. I know what is required of me. I go out of my call of duty to make sure that I do much more. So it empowers me. I feel motivated. Thank you for that, and elaborating it very well. It is value-based. What do we mean but it is value-based? Sorry, the S should not be here. One of the principles of performance management, it is value-based. What does that mean? I'm just picking a few that could be of importance. All of them are important, but just for us to discuss. It is value-based.
Can I try?
Yes, please.
Yeah. In performance management, the issue of measurement comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And with measurement, you are able to know the priority areas, the things that are critical. And with that measurement, you're able to focus your energies, and you're able to measure, this is where I was before, this is where we are. And when it comes to appraisal period, you're able to articulate, this is where we were, this is what I have been able to achieve. And that adds value to you as an individual and also to the company.
Mm-hmm. Very true. You've hit the nail on the head. It is value-based. It is, value of what it is. It is solid. This is where I was last year. This is where I am this year. This is what need to be done. Even just take the appraisal of a driver. It seems very repetitive and year in, year out. We struggle setting objectives and quantifying them. Let's say or even the cleaner, you're expected to have the floor. It's part of your day-to-day responsibility, cleaning the floor, making sure that it is safe and it's safe for people it's a safe environment for people to work in and stuff like that. But how do we incrementally, as a driver, as a cleaner, as the office assistant, that every year that you're able to increase the value of the job that you do, that you really do understand. So I was here last year, I've become a better cleaner, the best cleaning lady or the best cleaning man in the organization. And those are some of the things that we need to discuss as HRs. How do I really set smart goals for work that is very repetitive and it's on the lower cadre in the organization? I see us struggling there, but we should be able to discuss and really come up with a consensus of saying, I am better in terms of setting up this and be willing to move. Okay. Any question there? Any input? Any input? Okay, great. So what are some of the key performance questions that we should be asking from time to time when we are setting up a performance management system? And remember that it's not a periodic review. It's every day we are managing performance in the organization. Why should I be assessing performance? From the very beginning, why should I assess performance as the line manager? Why should I assess my own performance as an individual? what performance is to be assessed. How does it look like? Everything you do forms is performance. Everything that you do, whether you are writing the memo, it's part of performance. It's routine work, but it builds up towards the performance of what it is. By the time you are coming out and saying, I'm going to meet, I have a new lead for a new sale. You prepare the pitch, you prepare your products, you go with the brochures or whatever needs for you to be able to make the pitch. That is, it's part of making sure that by the time you close the deal, you took time to prepare, and it's part of performance assessment. How do I assess performance? Who should assess performance? Is it the line manager? Is it everybody in the organization that assesses you? Is it you as an individual? We know that the two people who are in the centerfold of assessing performance is the line manager, or call them the supervisor, and me as an individual. Then if we expand from that aspect, then who else should be included in assessing performance? When to assess performance? Do you want to make it like an everyday affair of discussions of how we carry ourselves? It should be, but periodically we should sit down and look back and reflect what we have done. How to communicate performance assessment? Is it every day? And if it is not good assessment, how do I communicate that? You remember yesterday when we were talking about just being very courteous in your communication, because then I could just be having a bad day. I could be having a very tough time in my life, and I've not even come to tell you. Again, wellness for the employees. If you are really an endearing manager, people would come and tell you, hey, boss, kumeharibika. If you see me starting to underperform, it's because of this issue. And if there are very critical objectives that individual needs to meet, and you know that they will affect the productivity and the performance of the organization, are you able to take them away from them? So that it doesn't affect the entire organization. So those are some of the things that you should really be looking out. And that's why we keep on saying it's about the individual. It's not about anybody else. And then after that, and of course, we are here, we have a business, we have a mission that we need to accomplish, but how are we doing that? Okay. Any question? Any question there? Key performance management questions that you can ask. There are many more, but it really centers around performance, how to assess their performance, who should be doing that. And I'm sure these are blocks that you use all the time in the office. And I keep on saying this, when you take these notes, when you take these discussions, it's easy for you to be able to come up with a policy. If you don't have a policy in your organization, pick some of these principles. They're basic. Even if you go to the internet and just look at a performance management system policy, you will come up with 1,000 of them, and then custom make it to suit your organization, to make sure that it actually speaks to your what you do as an organization, your strategy, your people, your mission, your values, and stuff like that. So it's the same. It's basic of where we should be starting and then going forward. So never reinvent the wheel. It's never that serious after all. Okay. So how do we define objectives? So we have the questions, then how do we define the objectives? Okay. Okay. Someone please read for us. How do we define objectives? Someone please read for us. Thank you. Thank you.
To ensure that the objectives are properly defined, each of the following questions must be answered positively. Does the statement of performance target goals limit the results to one specific area? Are the results well defined in terms of what is expected of the job holder? Are the objectives measurable and observable? Were objectives quantified whenever possible? Were objectives quantified whenever possible? Was a time frame specified? Are the performance targets or goals reasonable and within the reach of the job holder?
Isn't it? Thank you very much. It actually wraps up everything around how we should be setting them, how we should be carrying them out, and what are the end goals and what should be done in the end. This is what I was saying. Are the objectives measurable and observable? You know, so that we don't have the push and the pull at the end of a performance review period. Measurable, very easy, very, very easy for anyone to be able to measure, but observable. You know, if I come with a long face that morning and I'm not smiling to the customers and I'm in the front desk, I'm in the call center, you know, you can almost feel someone when someone picks up a call, you call, and on the other side, you can almost tell whether they are warm, whether they are receptive, whether they are smiling, you know. And if you are working in a call center and you're supposed to be picking up clients and customers' calls to either direct them or to find them a solution, then this should be one of your objectives. And is it observable? You know, overall. And maybe you have a feedback mechanism of saying, Catherine picked 200 calls today, and of course you're supposed to pick 250. So there's an average at the end of the month that says that no, you're not picking enough. Are people calling enough? Are you dropping your calls? Are you giving conclusive whatever? We took some. We asked people to give feedback on this call, and this is how it was. Observable, you did not meet the set criteria for you to be having a customer. So observable is within the values that we have in the organization, the behaviors that we have in the organization, the collaboration between teams, individuals to individuals, so that there is no question at the end of the review period. It should be, everybody should be on the same page. Any question? Defining objectives, very easy for what it is. How do we define objectives in organization? Is this some of the tools that we use? Okay. So let's continue with the objectives. Okay. So someone read for us and maybe just try and put it from a work perspective context. Objective of performance management. What are the objectives?
Let me read, Catherine.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Objective of performance management: to review the performance of the employees over a given period of time. In our case, we review mid-year and the end of the year. So we have 2 reviews within the year.
Okay.
To try the gap between the actual and the desired performance. That is now on scoring. We score the staff in terms of we have the technical and the soft skills. To help the management in exercising organizational control, which in our case is very difficult and controversial. Helps to strengthen the relationship and communication between superior, subordinates, and management employees. This one has not been actualized because we've not actually used it as a tool either for disciplinary or for compensation. So it is in between now to diagnose the strengths and weaknesses of the individuals so as to identify the training development needs of the future. I think this one has been a strength on our side. We've trained the people on the weak areas and at least a plan a training for them.
Very, very good. And just goes back to show what we were talking about, values, how the values that incrementally, we have seen that you have some weaknesses here. We've seen that you have strengths here. Let's continue building on them. Well done. Okay, great. Okay, you can continue. Objective of performance management.
Okay, to provide feedback to the employees regarding their past performance. This one, yes, we discuss with employees at end year and at the end of the year. That is the two reviews. Provide information to assist in other personal decisions in the organization. Okay, provide clarity of the expectations and responsibilities of the functions to be performed by the employees. Okay, this has been the technical areas to reduce the grievances of the. Okay, this one is not well. Okay, this one is. I think as we develop the system, this is where we'll reach to charge the effectiveness of the other human resource functions of the organization, such as recruitment, selection, training, and development. Some other people in the organization can share so that we can see how they charge these things in terms of performance management system.
Yeah.
Most of us, we are in service industry, which is sometimes very difficult to count scores, how to use score a particular activity. For example, if you serve a customer today by giving him or her better service, how can you score that activity?
Yeah, very, very, because it's continuous, it's not quantifiable. And that's what I was saying. Take the service industry, very, very, very difficult compared to let's say talk of manufacturing. You were supposed to manufacture 100 biros. Today you manufactured 50, but the machine broke down. And I had said that this machine needs service for the last 2 weeks and nobody has taken it seriously. You get what I mean? So there are some functions that are really hard to really quantify because it's very observable. And those observable, how do we make sure that they are still, we can still measure, we can still be fair, and we can still be transparent. Okay, so let's get other input from other people. Let's say maybe if you work for the government, what are some of the things you have seen? How do you review your performance? Are these some of the objectives that are there? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the things that you have put in place that have really worked in your organization? Please, let's share. Have we been able to look at some of them? There are rather some are very obvious. We do it because we want to make sure that we are managing performance. We already have a system. We already have a time frame for review. What is really working for you? Everyday discussions around performance management. Someone share with us. And I would like to hear really organizations where we have said that we need to return back all your performance review reports by a certain period of time, let's say by end of June. But someone has not returned. What are the consequences? Are there any consequences, or you just let go and say, well, naliwe liwalo, the day they will decide to do so, we'll wait for them. Anyone? Are there consequences? Or it's a smooth ride. It's never that serious. Anyone? Are there consequences? Especially where there are no rewards. Let's say there's no bonus, there's no any other kind of reward, but you still expect people to bring back their completed performance reports, or maybe just log them into a system. Maybe it's not, it's online and we can run. We are 100 people in the organization. You run and you see, well, 100 people before, well done, everybody, or only 70 have completed. Where are the other 30? Where are the other 30? What are they doing? Are there any consequences? Someone please share, what do you guys do in your organization? Or what is ideal? What can HR do? Let's discuss, what can HR do to make sure that it's not punitive? It's people follow through, people are happy to do it, or what are also some of the consequences that we can put in place to help management make sure that everybody is filing their performance reports, for you to be able to make the decision and the board paper and to move forward here. Yes, Dr. Ari. Thank you, Peter.
Yes, morning, Catherine and
Morning.
the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my contribution is on 3 dimensions on what the HR can do. One of the things is that they need to guide the employees and the staff to be able to develop those measures at least on time. That's one. The other one is, of course, when they are rolling out this system, it must have some timelines. Like, you already have the tool in place, the frequency of updating the tool, and of course, they don't need to come at the nick of time and insist we must have this by COB. Same day, maybe the following day, whatever. And of course, the other challenge I've seen is where we have cases whereby perhaps even those who supervise, they seem not to understand what the employees are doing. People are so disconnected. The thing is so mechanical that the time has come again. Now we need to do A, B, C, D. So everybody is like, oh, what did we agree? And this kind of thing. So also where we have a supervisor having issues, a supervisor who kind of doesn't understand very well what the employee does, that can also be quite an issue. And I think the most important thing is that all the teams, all the parties involved, the appraised and appraisee, needs to be able to come together, socialize themselves around what needs to be measured, how they need to be monitoring performance, so that now even when it comes to that time when we need to really put things down on record, it is easy. For the sanctions, what I've seen is that, of course, the HR will need to keep on following up. Of course, following up and escalating, depending on how serious the delay is. Of course, demanding explanation why the delay is there. And of course, generally speaking, if you cannot comply with a performance management system within an organization, you are kind of not complying with the policy and the procedures, and that falls in that class. So that's what I've seen done in organizations. In other places where they are doing it like just for the sake of ticking a box, well, they may forget whether you ever brought or you never did. But essentially, we should be able to follow up. If you are not able to give a very good reason why you haven't submitted yours on time, then I expect there to be some sanctions of some sort, which are spelled out very clearly in the performance management policies and the procedures of whichever that organization is. Thank you.
Very true. Very ideal. What should be? Thank you, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for raising your hand. Okay, go, Patrick.
I just want to add, there's something that you talked about called culture. And at the end of the day, culture will determine how things are done. So if you have outlined in, and the culture of the organization is clear, that not feeling those performance results at the end of the day, it is in itself a performance issue. And therefore, in organizations whereby if someone is not performing, they'll be put on a PIP, that is performance improvement plan, then it kind of makes people to ensure that they are doing and following up, ensuring that they follow what the organization puts in place. What HR can do is to support the process. Instead of just telling people, fill those forms, return them, go to the people on the ground, find out what challenges are they facing. Because sometimes people procrastinate over very limited things. I mean, sometimes it's just a definition of something, or they don't know even what to feel. And some of them will even appraise themselves and feel like they have not done well in an issue. But when you look at it as a HR, you challenge this person, they have done really well, and they just don't know, because 90% of the time people do not note down what they are achieving on a day-to-day basis. So the HR should provide support, it should provide leadership, that at the end of the day, if people understand that something good is coming out of this performance appraisal process, then they are going to ensure that they do it in time. So it's just providing leadership.
Providing leadership, and HR just setting the pace, even if, because they are the ones who really understand. I mean, everybody does understand, let's put it there. From the time you come into the organization, from your onboarding programs, where we say, this organization is performance driven, then why do we have such big words and we are not actualizing it? Yesterday, we talked about people hiding behind their inefficiencies, because people just want to talk and talk and talk and not actualize. Why should a supervisor actually be the hindrance of the employee has already really done their bit? They have said, I did this, I did this, I did this, I am a star performer, I am 4. The form is still sitting with the supervisor 1 month later. The supervisor is actually letting the system down. The work of the supervisor, the work of the team leader, is to give leadership to the team, is to motivate the team, is to look at the strategy of the organization. And one of them is managing performance. So these forms, which are so boring and they seem to be like a HR thing. In fact, performance management, if anything, I think it should be removed from HR. And if your organization is struggling with performance management, I think it's the high time to drop it all together. If we cannot all be on the same page, I see the frustrations of CEOs, I see the frustrations of HRs in the area of performance management, and people are not just doing it, but it's because we are doing it wrong. We are not looking at performance management as the system in totality. When you go for a training and we sent you for a training, do your supervisor actually ask you, how was that training? Please come to the next meeting and just give us highlights of what you learned and what we can implement, not what you are going to implement. Change the narrative, what we can implement as a department. You get what I mean? Change the narrative to the organization, how you can benefit. And then in the end, what have you benefited from going? Even just saying, going out and meeting other people was really nice. Networking, I met my competitor there. Hey, competition ilikuwa hapo. And I hear this is what they are doing. A best practice I hear is in the market. You get what I mean? Make it grander than life. I think when we make performance management grander than life, of saying, this is it. You know, our wellness program, we have the opportunity to do what? To go for a medical checkup for you. Have you been able to go? You know, you're able to look at it and say, part of managing performance, that have you been able, and just asking, if you go for your medicals, you're able to know what is something the doctor might be able to pick something that might be of importance to you and your health. And this, when you know about your health, it comes back in managing performance, you know. And even just like we said, who looked after HR last year? Who called up on a particular, someone who called you and said, hey, HR, how are you doing? It's really crazy for you guys this year and whatever. Just that, looking out for each other, managing performance. you know, not just the hard targets, but again, our culture. Do you understand it? Do you enjoy it? Whom are you collaborating with? Is there any problem and stuff like that? If we understand that it's all value-based, really incrementally making sure that everybody does understand and is enjoying being part of the larger ecosystem of this organization, it's much easier for us to manage performance. Not just, well, HR has sent out the forms, nobody is coming, nobody is doing anything, whatever. The police is coming, run, the police is after us, bring in the forms, let's return them, just file them over there. Grace, I see you've raised your hand. Let me say something. I know an organization where performance, well, it's what it is. They've tried, they do what needs to be done, but there are consequences if you don't do it. You can't get into the system. You open, it's blank. If those are the kind of consequences that you want us to have, very punitive, looking as if, oh, now okay, I forgot to fill it. Don't forget to feel it. It should be every day. You should be feeling it every day. It should become your Bible of truth. Why would you want IT to block you off? You can't even sign in. It's blank. And you know, oh, it's that thing that HR told us to do. It's not a HR thing. HR is just a facilitator, enabler, what Patrick and Peter have said. Let's increase it and let's make it, let it be part of the peer system. Let it be part of our DNA. But if it's just a one-time function, process, media, half year, we will never just get by. Yeah. Yes, Grace, please contribute. And thanks everybody for the contribution. Yes, Grace, we're waiting for you. Oh, you're on that side. Then where are you? Then people can't contribute because they're still on the attendees list. Sorry, guys. Yeah, sorry. Then please push people. Please admit people to be on the panelist list. Sorry about that, guys. And thanks for letting me know. Anybody else? Anybody else who'd like to contribute around consequences? Let's talk about consequences, especially. Consequences, what can we do? Consequences. Consequences, are they good? Do people feel they are punitive? After all, even you are telling me to feel this thing and there are no, there's no compensation, there's no reward. So why are you following me to do this? Can you imagine if you're asked like that by someone? What do you do? What do you tell them? What do you tell them? People feeling that the consequences are punitive. People feeling that there's no compensation. After all, it's just another tick the box, off it goes, file it wherever it is. I don't really care much about it. I'm doing what needs to be done here. One day I'll just be gone, so gone. Someone else, please share. What should we be doing? Then have you moved people to the panelist list? Please share what HR should do. I'm waiting for us to hear much richer discussion around that as well. Someone? Someone, please. Consequences. Are consequences sustainable? Are they important? If people don't toe the line, unfortunately, that's what happens. Someone, other types, yeah.
I'd say sometimes there's some consequences that can affect the right behavior, and especially to line managers. And in this light, like a line manager can not come and tell the HR that they want a specific person to be promoted or their terms to be reviewed, yet there's not been a demonstrated evaluation of the capabilities or of the performance of this person. So if that can be brought in that way, where now it's frequently enforced that before you bring any discussion of either review of terms or promotion or even training for any person who is under you, then that can only become a viable discussion if you've been participating in the performance system or process in place within the institution. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. We cannot move. We cannot move. You have said that this person is not performing. You have not documented it over time. We ask you and you never bring them. Now you want us to help you. How can we help you with no documented evidence on what's happening? You want this and this and this to be done. I love that. Yeah. Someone else? Someone else? Elizabeth, you can contribute, or are you on that other side of the? Oh yeah, you're not able to whatever because Dan has to move you to this other side. Sorry about that. I've actually tried to call him, or someone can also try to call him on my behalf to ask him to add people to this other side. Okay, great. Someone else? Other consequences? Are consequences good? I like what Carol has said, and we all can relate with that. Yeah. So the performance management process is not just a one-time occurrence. It's we have seen and we have discussed. It's every day. We live it every day. Documented and actually taken with the seriousness that it deserves. And sometimes I feel that it's line managers who do not take it, who do not actually take it with the seriousness that it deserves. So the moment we appoint you as a line manager, one of the things that we should really emphasize on is your ability to ensure that performance management is part of your key KPIs. And if it is whatever it should be taken, you didn't appraise your people in good time. You're not managing performance the way it should be. Your people have not gone for any training this year. Your people are always absent from work. What's happening to your team? Let's have the data to show line managers that this is working. Your team is doing extremely well. Well done. And also balance that feedback in terms of you are doing well, very well here, but in this place, you're not doing well. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so how does a performance management process look like? Someone would like to look at that and just follow it through, where it starts. Let's where it starts, how it goes, how it converges, how the whole value chain of performance management, the process that we should consider at our place of work. Anyone? As we come to the tail end of our morning session. After that, when you look at it, maybe you just unmute and take us through the process. Then we look at the employee roles, the employee's role in performance management. Anyone?
Let me take you through.
Thank you.
So I'm looking at the performance management process, and the first process starts with setting and communicating performance standards. This is where you agree with your team that these are the required performance standards, and therefore that is what should be achieved within a specific period that you have agreed. And then the second one is measuring the standards. How will these standards be measured? Now, this is deciding on the yardstick, and towards the other side is planning the performance, identify and communicate performance goals, establish performance criteria, okay? And then you determine appraisal periods and methods, responsibilities for appraisals. So appraisal period, some companies do it. I mean, I've seen an organization that does it monthly, and other organizations do it quarterly. There are those who do biannually, and there are those organizations that will only do it at the end of the year. All right. The third one is comparing standards. I look it together with examining the work performed. I think comparing standards here is where you are putting yourself in a position whereby you're looking at your standards that you're using to measure your performance, and comparing it either across other departments or maybe other organizations. Examine the work performed, and then discussing the results. When it comes to discussing the results here, this is where one-on-ones come in handy, and the main objective here is feedback. What are you learning? How are you able to move forward? And then appraise the results. Now, this is where you get the reality checks. Did we do well? Did we perform badly? If we did well, what are the consequences? If we performed badly, we go to what are the consequences too. And then taking corrective standards, deciding what to do in order to ensure that you are performing to the standards that you have set. It goes to then conduct appraisal interview, whereby you are now discussing the goals for the next period. So as that is the continuous nature of the performance appraisal. Determining the period, there's the other arrow that points at anticipate and consider problems in performance appraisal. Effective performance appraisal systems comes in place to ensure that you're doing that. And then when examining the work that is performed, you're doing what is called management support, coaching, training, and development. Now, after the last step, which is conducting appraisal, then the loop goes back to planning the performance now for the next review period, and the wheel turns again.
Wow, thank you very much. Very well put. And also just expounding on each of the process that we have there. So it's things that we have been discussing. What are some of the challenges? What are some of the risks in your process, and how do you anticipate that? And of course, we are also saying that because performance management is an everyday process, you are not if any problems, if you anticipate any problems, if any risks come to your business, you need to go back and reevaluate the objectives that we had put in place, the standards that we had put in place, and making sure that they are reflective of the business environment that we are in. Last year, for sure, I'm sure your performance goals were actually reevaluated, no matter how in the simplest of forms, because of the pandemic. Either you had to scale them up or to scale them down, depending on the industry that you were in. Things needed to shift. And if they didn't shift, then just know that your performance management system needs to be relooked at, and your performance management process also needs to be relooked at, because we say the performance management system is the bigger one, and then the elements inside there are the principles, are the processes, are the tools that you are using to measure your performance management system. And then here, to anticipate and consider the problems in performance appraisal. Problems do come. Problems are problems. Problems is what it is. That because we did not set SMART goals, we might not be very good at having that discussion. Midway, things changed and we did not document it. And you promised that you would go back to the system. If it's an online appraisal system that you have in your organization, you did not, you forgot to update it. So now during the review period, we are having back and forth, but I told you, but I didn't remember to do it. So how do we make sure that we have no problems or risks? Risks, you can be able to talk about risks very effectively, but problems that can be anticipated sometimes have been brought by ourselves. All of a sudden, the relationship between me and my supervisor has gone pear-shaped. We don't seem to get along. They're the ones to evaluate me. How do I even face that situation? Is it going to be objective? Things might really have changed. The team now, this objective became a team objective, and it was mine as an individual. This was the one objective that I was banking upon for me to really get a good bonus. All of a sudden, it has been taken to be a team objective, meaning that we have to share in the pie. So some of those things, and of course, a performance appraisal system that you have not been able to define as an organization and for people to be able to understand. So even when we have the performance management process, as HR today, I want you to think, as we come to the end of the first day, is that have you defined the sum of the risks that are in your performance management system? And we have seen it's everything that the person does in the organization counts towards the performance management system. What are some of the risks that you have identified? How have you tried to mitigate some of those risks? How is your dashboard looking in your office? Like what Patrick said, we put things in, there are things in amber, green, and red. If they're in red, really not good. Not good. We are not moving the process. If we are dropping them, where are they? Why are we dropping them? Is it because we have been defeated or the business environment has changed? Red is really you're in ICU, you're on PIP, but if progressively you're moving and continuously changing the color code, I think that is where it should be. By the end of the year or by the end of that review process, you should be in green. In fact, if anything, you should be waiting. Today is my appraisal. Bana, we've been discussing with Mdosi. I feel very good about it. In fact, we are just going to sign off because every day we have been discussing. So what is this that we are sitting down? It's just a formality. We are all smiling and giving each other high fives, across the table. Well done, buddy. I'm happy working with you. You've done well. It was challenging, but I can see that it's really incremental for you and well done. If anything, this year, I see you getting into the talent pool for succession planning. You just whisper. And he says, boss, let me go and buy you lunch today because it's objective. You feel stretched in the right direction. because the process is working in the organization and it is working for you. It must work for the individual before they're able to actualize the bigger picture of the organization. So finally, the last slide before we call it a day. So also the employee has a role to play in the whole of the whole process and in the whole management system. Who would like to read for us? What is the role of the employee? Yeah.
Good morning, Catherine.
Morning. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm sorry
Yeah.
I'm late. I was in a meeting.
That's okay. Don't worry. It's recorded. You can go back. We can recap tomorrow. So karibu sana.
Yeah, let me read the employee's role. If an employee doesn't have a work profile within the first month of employment, he should ask his supervisor when he can meet to put up one together. I think that is the team spirit now. Bring to your supervisor's attention conditions or circumstances that are changing during the review, which could impact your ability to complete a performance expectations. Then that is all about coaching and mentoring, I think so. Then ask your supervisor periodically how you are doing, and ask for at least one meeting midday through the review period to discuss how your performance is measuring up to expectations. If you disagree with the performance rating you received, you check to see if you achieved results which are not included on the evaluation. Remember that this is an evaluation of results, not activities. I want to say something about this because I remember before I joined the county government, I used to work with Kenya Commercial Bank. And I had a personal banker who happened to be my immediate supervisor. And she was forced to be on P&P just because they were not in terms with the BM. So the organization performed, but the overall performance of the organization was depending on the performance of the personal banker. That is when she performed, the organization could perform. And when she didn't perform, then automatically the performance of the organization would have gone down. So because they were not in good terms, she was forced to be on P&P so that the head office could see that she's not working. And when they came, they asked one question, that why did the organization perform, and performance of the organization squarely depends on her performance, and then she's being rated so poorly. So the BM didn't have anything to say about that, and it is from that time that she was removed from P&P, and then everything went on like it was supposed to be. So the next point is discuss with your supervisor any questions you have about what is on the evaluation. When you don't understand anything about that, it is good always to at least you share and then see where to place the problem. Then seek out a member of your HR department to discuss your results. Seeking out a member of HR department, like where I work now. Since I came here, I've never seen us do performance appraisals. I have never seen even one day. So maybe you'll advise us what to do next after the lesson.
I'm not laughing. It's such a serious matter. We have already discussed. It's terrible. Oh, no. Is it the whole county or is it that department that you're working in?
The whole county.
But there's performance contracting in the government.
Yes.
Why is it not being put in place? Tomorrow, please book an appointment for me and you to go to and see the governor. I am coming. I'm coming. Yeah, please book immediately. We need to understand why it's not there. Thank you for even giving us an example. You see, where I want to emphasize that it's also the employee's responsibility. When I come and the onboarding has been done correctly, then I know exactly what I should be doing as an individual and know what is expected of me. And if I'm missing some of the tools and some of the processes, I know where I should be going to ask, hey, boss, I am here within 1 month. I don't have my probation targets. Can we please put them down? I've not signed you should, by the time you're coming to employment anyway, should have signed your JD and you understand what it is. But my probation performance targets are still not outlined. Could we get time to discuss that and document it? And then after probation, we should be able to say, now I've settled in the job. Thank you for confirming me. I am very eager to set my targets for this year, my objectives. I would like you also to outline the strategy a little bit more, the department strategy, and how I fit in all that. An ideal employee. Well, yesterday we also talked about utopia and kusadikika. Anyway, but also in terms of the elements of a good working relationship with the person that is supervising you, and you also being a good person to be supervised is important because it's a two-way traffic. So that we'll talk about the halo effects and some of the things that go around performance appraisals, Yeah, so that is very, very important. So what I would like to say is that what the example that we have been given, someone really puts you on PIP, but her results are the ones that have made the whole establishment stand out. So even as HR, we come and say, but why is this happening? And being able to question. And also, when you have a problem in terms of getting along with your supervisor, we should be able to iron it out. Sometimes it's not easy. I'm not saying it is easy, but who can help you iron it out? Is it HR? Is it the second line manager? Is it another peer? Because you want things to work. Good jobs are few and far between. So what we should check is that check to see if you achieved results which were not included on the evaluation. Remember that this is an evaluation of results, not activities. You will not tell me how I did in January, that one small thing, measuring on the minors. We are talking about my evaluation and the results that I have brought. I was supposed to sell 10 million biros by the end of the year. I have only sold 9 million. Those are the results we want to discuss. What are some of the challenges that we went there? It's not because, you are always lazy listening to music. Maybe I was listening to music about selling biros. So let's talk about the results and not the activities and the noise. That's the noise that I talk about around performance management review. It should be really enjoyable, like what I have been saying through and through, and the discussions that we have had, contributing, ability for the supervisor to coach, bring to their supervisor's attention circumstances that are changing, and your inability to be able to review to reach your targets and to why you are not going to meet the expectation. And it's both of us should be able to know by now. It's not me taking. In fact, by the time I go to the supervisor and say, boss, this whatever he says, yeah, in fact, let's change it. Let's change it to reflect the things on the ground. It was already what it was. It was already stretching. It was challenging. You were enjoying doing it, but there's a big shift. So let's align it. Let's realign it and also realign the department's goals. If the department's goals are really going to be realigned significantly, then also it means that the individual goals also needs to be realigned and making sure that they all meet together. Any question? Any question? Takeaways for today? Useful? Not useful? Interesting? Not interesting? Tomorrow we'll start on some of the tools like the balance scorecard, the 360, measures. We put up a real case study for HR and maybe a driver, what you have been doing, and how to really look at performance criteria to make sure that you're doing that around SMART goals. And then we end it up from there. Any question, guys? Feel free to go to the LMS.
Yes, Catherine, I want to say something.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. For me, I think I want to, the lady who has just spoken, I didn't get her name, but I think she has given us a very good example.
Yeah.
Of what you see in quite a number of public sector organizations, whereby you just come in, you log in, do whatever you have to do, nobody may seem to bother, and then you go. It's a bit unfortunate, but I think organizations should be able to have at least some system in place. Of course, beginning with even the JD, there are some places you wouldn't even find that. It is not written, but people, even yourself, you believe you know what you are doing. Your boss thinks they know what you are doing until maybe something goes wrong. And putting somebody on PIP as a punishment is quite unfortunate, because of course, whoever is doing that perhaps doesn't appreciate the purpose of PIP to begin with. I've also heard of issues of deploying employees to Siberia, as sometimes they call it. If you are maybe too noisy or whatever they call it, which of course they are not very good practices. But just to talk about this performance issue, I think it's also important for the employee. I mean, the appraisee, let me call him that, to also understand the tool and the processes and the procedures. Extremely very important, because you cannot rely 100% on the supervisor. Suppose the supervisor is hell-bent, suppose the supervisor is malicious, you cannot be able to question, because you cannot question what you don't know. So it's very important you understand the tool very well, the processes. Of course, if there are appeal mechanisms in place, you also need to be able to appreciate that. But where you find this kind of situation whereby the JDs are not in place, the performance management system doesn't seem to work, I think I pointed to the HR function, which in my view, I think is dysfunctional in such places. I mean, if we don't call something for what it is, we will never really get it done very well. I think the HR has failed maybe to go to the partnering level, as we say, and just got stuck in the personnel kind of transactional kind of level. They will always be concerned of when did you report, when did you leave work. But when it comes to the real things, whereby they need to partner with the rest of the management to ensure that they uplift the organization, it really becomes an issue. So, I mean, it really questions the competence, the way the HR is structured and that kind of thing. And I think that's why I don't believe in you tell the employee to go and craft their own JD. Okay, you can do that, but you need to be able to have some framework where they are going to enrich. It needs to be like that, but not the other way around, whereby you may even be forgotten that you never had a JD to begin with. So we have come across these kind of things. They are usually prevalent in public sector. The private sector is they are a bit serious. Of course, if they are not very serious, they can sink, and they are very keen not to sink. So there, I think that's why you find things seems to be kind of moving. And I thought it's important I share this with the team so that perhaps we learn more from each other. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for that input. Very valid, very timely around the role of everybody in this process. The role of HR being a strong business partner, the role of the employee knowing what the systems in the organization, the arbitration mechanisms, using those systems, and also the role of the supervisor it's everybody just needs to understand, why am I here? What are the processes that are in place? Where do I get certain information? Whom do I go to if I need this? So that it works and it continues to work. Otherwise, it's not gonna be easy, or it's not going to move in the right direction as is expected. Thank you, Peter, for that. Anybody else? Takeaways? Thank you for saying that it was engaging and important. I appreciate that. Always, it makes it good because you're the ones participating and sharing your experiences. Anybody else? Anybody else that you would like to give your feedback? Okay, great. So I wish you a good rest of the day. We hope to see you bright and early tomorrow, like we were here, so that we conclude in the rest of the discussion. And I encourage you to look at your performance management system today and see whether it is working, whether it is ideal. There are things that you need to change. And if it is not there, what are some of the baby steps that you need to start thinking of putting in place so that it comes alive sooner than later. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Dan, for opening the bridge for us to be able to join the webinar. And we hope to see you guys tomorrow. Have a very blessed afternoon. And bye for now. Can I unmute yourself and say bye? Yeah, thank you, Grace. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye. Bye-bye, Catherine.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.